Hello, everybody. This is going to be a very practical story. So everything I say here is not theory. Yes, it is based on a framework. It's based on stuff that we've done. But it's for real. The shit is really for real on this one. So this is about ready, fire, aim. And that's a very important concept to us at ShopRite X. But so who's ShopRite X? We're clearly inside a ShopRite group, but we're not here to represent the entire group. That's a very large group. We're here for ShopRite X. So ShopRite X is a small organizational unit inside the group. We started 4 or 5 years ago with 60 of us, and there's 420 today, and we are the digital innovation hub. We get stuff done. But we get stuff done on the principle of ready, fire, aim. We are not too worried about the perfect solution in our heads and the theory. We get the basics, and then we must go. So we will fire and we'll sort out the aim a bit later, because it's possible, it's agile, it's the way we can do it. And the presentation that I'll go through is going to follow, funnily enough, the 4 virtues that Bias and Geshido are trying to talk about. Visualize and make transparent, prioritize, sequence, and execute, measure and monitor, and improve and evolve. So just briefly, how did we start? We started back in October 2019. Some of us went to a meeting with Bias. It sounded like he knew what he was talking about. We accepted the concept, and we started to go. In November, we trained 20 leaders in SAFE. Okay, we thought we had enough to start, and we actually went to our first PR planning back in December 2019. I still remember on the day we crossed the road to the meeting room, we were still working out what to do and how to do it. But the point is, we just went for it. We didn't have SPCs. We didn't have an RTE. We had IQ Business helping us. We understood the framework, but we didn't have anybody formally trained. I only qualified, I think 2 months after we decided to go live. But the point is, we just went for it, and it's okay. The world won't come to an end as long as you just take the people with you. And I'm going to talk about people agility in a minute. I think Nick referred to it, somebody else referred to it earlier today, because it actually is not about the framework, it is about the people. The framework is just a thingy that you hang on to for dear life. So we just completed last week PR20 across 2 agile release trains, and so we are humming along. Are we perfect? It's going to sound like we're perfect today, not by a long shot. I'm just giving you the practical experiences of what we've done. So how did we go about it? We just said, let's go. Appoint an RTE, which at that stage was IQ Business, helped us. And then, funnily enough, I became the next RTE. I'm not too sure why. But we started and just go for it. Allow the RTEs or the agilists, what's that word? Yeah, agilists that you start with. Just give them the freedom to go. Give them the framework and they can start. We also put people into this concept of virtual roles. Maybe we think you're going to be good as a Scrum Master, give it a go. We're not going to fire you if you don't work out as a Scrum Master or a product owner or the RTE. But we put people into virtual roles. Let's test that it can actually work. Clearly, we did the ceremonies and the cadences because they just brought some form of structure. Give people an idea of what it is that we were doing. We encourage people to fail fast, and when you fail fast, just fall forward. It's okay. It's fine. The important point here was it's okay to fail, but just give it a go. Try, fix it, move on very quickly. We put in the concept of feed forward. Feedback is telling us what's wrong with you, right? We're going to go through all the things that are wrong with you. It's a very negative concept. So what are the things that are right with you, and what do you want feed forward on? Because that was an important concept for us. Because it's about the people agility. It's not about Geshido. Yes, it is, but it's not. It is not about SAFE. Yes, it is, but it's not. It's about the people agility. And once again, we just kept going for it. So I think by the time we got to PR4 and 5, I think we had 2 or 3 people formally trained, but we understood the basics and what we were doing. So let's move into the first virtue of visualize and make transparent. Clearly, you have to lay all this out. We didn't have all this 4 years ago. We've learned to have it. Everything must be clearly aligned. You can see from our portfolio, ShopRite X, we have clearly 10 strategic themes, And I think Nick or someone else referred to it earlier, the work must align back to those strategic themes. And we break it down. Value streams, portfolio epics, epics features, user stories. This concept is actually very simple. You don't need to pay IQ Business a lot of money. Okay. It's very simple. If you finish all the user stories, you will achieve the features. If you achieve all the features, you will deliver the epic. If you deliver all the epics, you will achieve your portfolio epic, and you will get value in your value streams. Okay. So, but clearly you do need IQ Business to help you. Lean business cases must be, but lean business cases, not 468 pages, which is filed and put away for the auditors when they come. And you must have roadmaps. I think someone also referred to it earlier. You must have roadmaps, but not a moose-along roadmap. It must be a roadmap 12 to 18 months, and you'll see later, I'll talk about it. Every 3 months, we review the roadmap. It must be fresh. It must be frequent. And we are busy implementing OKRs. Nick, I'm referring to Nick a lot, right? Nick mentioned OKRs. We're not perfect on OKRs. We've got to get it right. But we have moved ShopRite X from being a non-entity 4 years ago. Clearly, I'm not going to give you the number, but to a very large value generator inside the group. All clear, all visible, transparent. It's visible in our tools. I'll talk about tooling in a minute. It must all be down. It must be available. Everybody must be able to see this. You must be aligned around it. You must use tooling. I absolutely convinced of this. I'm still astounded how many people still are using stickies or papers or visual boards of Miro. No disrespect to Miro. But certainly for us, this was a game changer. We took tooling on very early in our journey. Because tooling allows you to achieve the first part. Everything is visible. Everything is transparent. Where the value streams are, everybody has access to it. All our portfolio epics, all our value streams are inside the tool. All our boards, everything is done electronically. Clearly, we had to go electronically. We all started at similar time as everybody else back in December 2019 and COVID hit. So we had to go electronic. All the work is visible all the time. It was about what are the teams challenged with? What are the obstacles and how do we fix it? Not which teams are we going to penalize? How do we go forward? All the stats are in there. They've got numbers and now there's no values in here. The effort, the features, it's all connected. Everything is inside the tool. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to use our tool, but you must have a tool that's there and available. It's transparent. It's visible all the time. And I'm just drilling through all the work now, right? Down to the features, all the way, the objectives, what have we achieved, what haven't we achieved. This is what we review all the time. Right down to the bottom end. So Jira is at the bottom, but we have the tool sitting on top that takes in all the data. So we drill right down to task and support level. And guess what we have found after 4 years of doing this? When we started the journey, 80% of our work was new, it was build. Today, the RTEs, that my gang of ShopRite X are all over there, yeah? Okay, the RTE's there. He's worked out now that actually 45% of what we do is just like BAU work because we've grown so much, and that's good. Okay, all our ideas. Somebody spoke about a portal earlier. Absolutely agree. You've got to have a portal. Whatever the portal is, it can be a form in Microsoft, but it starts somewhere and it comes into an engine. These are all our ideas going through the Kanban flow. And we're pulling it forward, moving it through the Kanban, then it goes into the agile release trains. Second virtue, prioritize, sequence, execute. You cannot go to the toilet at ShopRite X if it's not prioritized or sequenced. So how do we do that? I think 3 or 4 people earlier spoke about this is how we do it. How do you get to a PR planning, which is the end point of a whole lot of work that you're asking the teams to contribute and pull and actually commit to? Well, you back it up by every quarter, okay, it's not really a quarter in my world, it's a PI. Every PI, and it's always in the same iteration, must be regular sequence in the right place. We have a QBR. The executives, the value stream owners, and the product teams get together and we review the 12 to 18-month roadmap every single time. Every 3 months we do that. That's our long-term view. So we understand what's next of next. But coming out of that, we also understand what's for the next PI. We take that into what we call rock sharpening. It's just a fancy word made up. You can Google what a rock sharpening is. Rock sharpening is exactly that. How do you get rocks into a glass? You sharpen the edges and eventually they come in. So how do you prioritize for the next PI? So rock sharpening, super important. Notice the sequence here. Once you've done rock sharpening, you understand what you are asking the teams to do, not telling them, not demanding of them, what you are asking the teams to do at the next PI. Then you must clearly, the product team will prepare a feature presentation, and you do it 1 week before. We do it 1 week before because it just makes sense. Gives people 1 week to think of all the features. It's the feature and epic presentation that you're asking the 2 Agile Release Train engineers who are sitting right there, what you are asking them to do. And then you go into PI planning. Review your roadmaps, decide what you're doing next, have it prioritized in a very clear sequence. Yeah, what are you going to use WSGIF, or we use something called Discover X, or Matthew Harvey's made-up calculation? It doesn't matter. Use a calculation, whatever you use, but prioritize before you go to the loo. So that's super important for us. And then somebody else also spoke about this. So how do you keep track of what you're doing? Notice that you don't want to put everything into one meeting and it becomes 2.5 days of preparation for 2 to 3 days of PR planning. So a portfolio sync every month. That's to review operational, get it done, understand what's happening every month. A finance sync, we've taken finance out of the other meetings. We have a finance sync every month. We just deal with the finances. Yes, it's clearly linked back to the portfolios and the epics. And then we're chapter sync, which is a boring operational thing of tea and toilet issues and practical issues. You don't need to go to any other meeting, in my view, except these ones and your individual team ceremonies. If you can reduce any of these meetings, I agree with one of the previous speakers, absolutely kick it out. If it's not adding value, kick it out. We prioritize every single epic is prioritized all the time. It's very clear for us. Now, clearly, we have a priority within ShopRite X. Goes into the 2 Agile Release Trains. They even have a priority in terms of, is Ruan's one is more important than Christine's one? And then we need to take into account the LPM effect across the group. The group also has bigger priorities, and we need to align to that. It's in the tool. It's very clear. There's no arguments. Extra savings plus finance is 2.2. It's priority number 2. There's no debate, no argument. And you only need the priority when there's a clash or a dependency. Otherwise, it's a homegrown data science capability enablement, if they have nothing to do with the first 6, their number 1 is their 6. I know that's counterintuitive, but it works. Now, one of the learnings we gained very early on was, yes, you could get the framework, you get the tools, you get Jira, you get target process, you get your portfolios, you get your epics, you can get all that. Get people like me, I finally became a qualified RTE 18 months after doing the job. So the exam was very easy, right? Because I've been doing the bloody thing for 18 months. Okay, there's 3 of us that finally become SBCs because that's what we've got to do to train. But the reality is it's about the people. So what we established very early on is this concept of a solution enablement chapter. I run the Agile Delivery chapter. I don't run it. It kind of runs itself and they do what they want anyway. And I run the solution enablement. I don't run it. I run the Agile Delivery chapter. We have another chapter called solution enablement. Now, it's not solution as in what solution. It's the whole solution. People, process, change management, training, comms, etc. We actually have that set up as a separate chapter. So you can see Agile Delivery focuses on process, policies, and measurements, where they focus on people, performance, ways of working, and culture. And we bring those 2 together because clearly, notice the cool slide, agile enablement. Because that's the point here. It's about the people, and it's the agile enablement that you want. And this is about everybody in our organization goes through what we call insights, and we work out what color you are and what you're strong at. And guess what? We don't come to you and say, we're going to, your 3 weak areas are this, this, and this, and we're going to send you on a course to fix those 3. No. What are you good at? You must become better at. Let's use your strengths. Let's accept that you're weak in this and you are strong in that. Complement each other. Work together. It's about the potential of the individuals and teams. And that's super important for us. So, clearly, if you're going to have all the tools and you're going to have all the fancy stuff, you must be, someone also spoke about it earlier, measure and monitor. And not only do you measure and monitor the obvious stuff, okay? So and once again, these are practice. This is not a theory, not theory at all. This is our art metrics, and you can see when we started in PI5, and you can see how we delivered through the arts to PI 13 and 14, topping out at 241 and 237 features inside a PI. Now, that's an incredible improvement. We understood what we were doing. We're writing the features better. What we've also realized is actually we were overcooking the features, right? Some of them weren't really features. So we've also learned to become more mature in our approach. But the point is that we understand the number. You can only deal with the number if you understand it. This is our art metrics. So we fully understand everything that we're doing in our business. We can measure everything. You can see on the top chart the objectives. So objectives is clearly the objectives that they commit to at PI planning. We achieve an average of 70, which for me is not good enough. We should be targeting 80%. Okay, but we understand the numbers, and you can see the history over time of where we are going in terms of what was planned for and what was achieved and the percentages at the bottom. We need to improve that. But you only understand that if you're measuring it, you're monitoring it. Once again, not to penalize people, to grow us forward. This is flow time. Measure and monitor. Look where we were in our first PIs, our second year of PI 5 to 9. We're now down to 40 days cycle time, flow time. Now you're going to say to me, Matthew, but some of that, maybe that was just crap admin. The number's the number. One of the best ways to fix the admin in Jira and any tool is to show the number. Crikey, once we started to show this to the teams, they argued with Jeff all the time. No, that number's wrong. What does it mean? Why? No. All of a sudden, their Jira admin got a lot better. If you touch it, change the status, start working on. So this is from build and test right through to done. But once again, you can see it and you can measure and monitor it. So the art metrics are important. Clearly, there's a whole lot of other metrics which I'm not going to show you. But what really matters here? So the measure and monitor is one element of it. Because it is about purpose, autonomy, and growth. The teams need autonomy. But you need to measure it as well. So you can't only measure the art metrics, the features, the story points, the effort, the objectives achieved. You need to measure the people. Where are we going? Once again, you need to measure them to grow them, not to penalize them. Because we need to focus on mindset, behaviors, and culture. Okay, so continuous feed forward, incremental growth. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's fine if you're not sure. And celebrate learnings from failing. So we have an executive. He'll say to us, we have an all hands every Friday morning. Everybody gets together. But it's a great time. But also that's where it's okay to fail. Celebrate what that failing is as long as you understand how you're going to move forward. And I'm not going to go through all this detail, but this is now how we measure the people. So we use the Clifton strengths. We want you to have your T-shapes. What is your goal? What's my goal? Not what you're weak at. What's the goal? What's your growth? What are you going to share? So I've got 8 people here from ShopRite X. When we get back, we now have to say we were at this conference, and this is what we've learned, and this is what we've shared. We must be sharing all the time. But we put this in a tracker, and there's the tracker. So this is a people growth tracker. Now, it's our own custom-made board, and once again, it's to understand how we're growing our people, not how we're penalizing them in terms of where we go. What have you learned? What have you done? Strengths assessment. So measure and monitor also includes people, because this is leading towards some form of culture. So at ShopRite X, we have the concept of a +1 culture. We only want you to do one thing every single day. One single thing better, whether it's one feature, one effort, one phone call, one piece of work, +1. If you do it every day, it'll be fantastic. So how do we improve and evolve? So what's worked for us? Right from the beginning, we included everybody in this new thing called SAFE, Agile Release Trains, PI planning, iterations. Even what we would call the Agile Run teams. They didn't know what we were talking about, iterations. We've trained them in the words. We get them to think the same way. They plan, develop. Everybody comes to PI planning. So last week, 400-odd people in 2 Agile Release Trains came together. Yes, SAFE says you can't have more than 175 in one Agile Release Train. We have 223 in the one. Yes, we acknowledge it's too big, but it does include everybody. And we mean everybody. Early adoption of an agile enterprise planning tool, that it was critical for us. Continuous improvement in both people and process. All the time. How do we improve all the time? Because it is about agile enablement. It's not about agile delivery or agile process. It's about agile enablement of people. Okay, we're busy establishing our third agile release train, hopefully. 250 people trained and certified, had to put that in for the safe people in the corner. We are busy reshaping our value stream. So what I'll show you in terms of some of our value streams, we think we are good, but we need to reshape them even better. Nick mentioned it as well. Nick, you need to pay me some money. We are going to reshape our value. We are growing and improving all the time. We are not perfect. We need to put them into further capability-based teams. It's not ideal the way they're shaped at the moment, into a connected customer platform. So what's some of the future in terms of improving and evolving? When we started the journey, the RTE was about process, policies, what's definition of done, what's an iteration, when we do it, how the team should be done. But as you grow and evolve, well, it starts to change. So for us, it's more about coaching, flow, and leadership. The metrics will look after themselves if you focus on these three. So you can see now, our president, we estimate that an RTE should spend 50% of his time just talking, coaching, mentoring people, having conversations. 25% leadership and 25% running the art. It has evolved over time. It's less about driving the train and more about orchestrating the leaders, the teams, and the people. Every week, Ron's saying to me, we must fix this and we must fix that. It's generally people issues related to how we understand something, how we're doing something, how they're writing their features, how they're measuring their flow. So what's the future? Clearly for us, the future is about digital transformation. What's your next level? And I understand some people in the room may be here at the start of their journey, but there's always a next level. Collaboration with other arts. As you grow, more arts in the organization, it gets harder and harder. More people join this train, solution train. What's next after solution train? How do you hold them all together? Data-driven decision making. AI, all the data is there. True customer centricity. What really is customer centricity? You've got to continue to develop it. Cultivating true agile leadership, and clearly AI. I'm not going to mention AI much there. So, we think what our agility formula was. And notice it's an agility formula. It's not a safe formula. It's not a target process. It's not a tooling formula. It's what we think is our agility formula. Truly know your team. Somebody spoke earlier about the generational gap, how people work today. I'm a bit older than, I think the average age in ShopRite X is 33. Okay, I'm 58. So, but it's cool because it's about understanding how they want to work, what their strengths are. And clearly, if you go back to the SAFE core values, they are core values not only for SAFE, there are many, with key employee principles. Have alignment, transparency, respect for people, and relentless improvement. So most of this has been about people agility. And finally, I just want to leave you with 2 slides of key takeaways. Adopt a strong RTE, in our case, with an open license to go. Let them go. You can't be an RTE and something else. That's impossible. I see many adverts out in the business for, I'm looking for a Scrum Master, and a project manager. No, that's 2 jobs in one. Why would you do that? Follow a framework, but adapt as need. Measure for success and movement, don't measure to punish people. Data points, where there's people. Inspect and adapt. I'm doing a workshop tomorrow on inspect and adapt, how we think I'm going to show you what we've done over the past 19 that we've done, and different ways of measuring it. Because you're measuring ways of working and people. Don't only follow the simple inspect and adapt. There's many other creative ways which we'll show tomorrow. Agile partnership with solution enablement, which I spoke about earlier. Focuses on mindset, ways of working, and behaviors. And just getting on with it. It will be okay. You can just get on with it. So that's true practical story from ShopRite X. None of this was theory. Everything I've shown, we've done, we've implemented. Are we perfect? No. Do we need to improve even further? Absolutely not. That's it.